Guys, you are about to listen to a growth masterclass. I sat with Director of Growth at Timon, Feranmi Ajetomobi. You know Timon, the payment platform for travelers. And before Timon, Feranmi has had a stint in different brands. You can Flutterwave, Senoa, Ink, Brand Jig Studio, a whole lot. So we are about to listen to a growth masterclass. I say again, this is from somebody that studied economics in the University of Lagos. He dropped out and came back. Yes, you're about to listen to something good. Enjoy. Good everybody, thank you for tuning in again to POK Experience. And I have with me here Feranmi Ajetomobi, one of my bosses in marketing. And yes, he's one of the people we look up to in marketing. I've seen his work, he's done great work in marketing space. We will look him up so that you understand the person you're about to listen to. And thank you for coming on the show, boss. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you, Chief. It's a pleasure to be here. I am genuinely happy and excited to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for making this happen.
Yes, but looking at your tweet, I will start from this place. You sent a bold DM to the co-founder of Cowrywise. That's how you got into growth. Was that the true
Mhm.
story?
Yeah, how do I put it? There's a very interesting, I would say very interesting, but to me, it's interesting, right? What had happened at that period was I came back to Unilag. I dropped out from Unilag in 2014. I got into Unilag 2011 and I dropped out in 2014. And I started to like work with various programs and events when I came back. So one particular day, we were trying to raise money for some conference, and I had this iPhone that could not work without me plugging into the light. Once I unplugged it from the light to take like let's say 20 minutes or 30 minutes and to be dead. So I just plugged the phone. I usually don't check WhatsApp, but for some reason that day I was going through the WhatsApp status and I just stumbled on a friend story. They had visited Cowrywise office, and it made sense to me that these guys are actually reaching out to students. So there's something here. I had an event that required a sponsorship. What I then did was send a DM to Cowrywise, and I figured that they were a small company then, and definitely the founders would be involved. I simply just told the team that I had a plan for this event where they could speak to student entrepreneurs that wanted to save up for a business. No, I didn't break down the plan, I remember. So I didn't break down the plan fully. I just made it clear that I had this plan, gave a little bit of insight into the plan, and I said I was happy to work on them with the plan, or I could just send them the plan and they could work on it, or they could bring me in on board to work on the plan. I think Razak saw that and I was like, who's this person that wants to give us a free marketing plan and saying bring me on board and that. So he said, you know what? Send me your number, let's get on the call. So we got on the call. That call lasted for about 43 minutes or so. After the call, I had a job the next day to work at Carrier. So we had a very extensive call.
Interesting. I would say there's something on ground before you send that DM. It's not just about you sending a bold DM. There was something on ground. There's value that you already prepared that you want to offer them.
I was looking for money to sponsor the event, but yeah, I knew that for me to get that money to sponsor the event, I needed to offer value. So I've always been a person of like value exchange. You might not have all the money, you might not have everything, but if you're going to ask somebody for something, particularly you asking for a favor, except that family or something or friends, you should be able to offer value for them.
Coming back after you dropped out from Unilag, is it because you've been able to see that education is kind of important to this thing? I was reading currently that majority of the startup founders in the world, the billionaires, they all have master's degrees somehow. And I was shocked because the tone out there is this person dropped out, that person dropped out, Zuckerberg dropped out, education, wow, there's no need for PhD. And we're getting to know that majority of executives are even PhD holders.
Mhm.
You figured out that education was important, that's why you came back.
Well, yeah, to be honest, right, when I dropped out from Unilag the first time, I had this notion that you don't need to go to school to be this, to be that. And I was a victim of that narrative of people made it without going to school, which is not a lie. A number of people have made it without going to, but no one makes it without education. Now, education can come in different formats. Mark Zuckerberg could drop out, but he needed a very great executor for the CEO who went to a proper school to actually like help like scale that Sanderberg to grow the company. Different people at some point in time get some sort of education. So why I believe that education is very key, that it improves your approach to critical thinking. Just the way if you're among friends that run a lot, you will learn skills that okay, run this way, run that way. You can be a great runner without being in a circle of runners. But you get to become a better runner because you're getting information from different people on how to approach it. Same thing with education. Right? You're in a circle of people that are thinking critically, approaching things differently. And it helps to build a mindset, it helps you to build a brain that thinks differently. So that's the purpose of education. That the learning is very important, but that communal engagement that improves your critical thinking also comes in. For example, like till today, I work with models a lot when it comes to growth and everything. But I learned that in school. I learned that from my friends, right? We were taught modeling, but in Nigerian schools, a different friend. But my friends taught me a couple of things, and I then use that to apply to it. So I use mathematics and modeling a lot in growth. So yeah, so I found that
Interesting,
and I came back.
interesting. You know what? Very interesting because people always say, education, value, leave education. It's just it drops
They
out.
don't they don't understand it, to be honest. You can't scale
They,
without it.
they,
That's true.
they
You
fed
can't
they
scale
fed the
without it.
streets with that language. Though. They fed the streets. Everybody believed it.
Ask them how they scaled. There's no one that has scaled. So you might start off like, for example, let's say you're a dropout and you start a company. At some point, you want to scale. You're going to get educated people to scale your business. Whether you like it or not, you're going to get educated people to scale your business. There is no level of, there's a level you can get to with critical thinking without education, but education just expands that mode of critical thinking.
Interesting. One of the things I know you for is community building. And you always talk about this thing, minimum viable community. And you always talk about the story of how you
Mhm.
built ambassador program in Cowrywise. You go out there, decide it. Why is the ambassadorship program important for Cowrywise? Why was it important? Why does it even work? Why do you think you always say it on Twitter that people are doing it the wrong way these days? This building ambassadorship program that people are doing it the wrong way. And they will just sit inside their sitting room and they will just create Google form and want people to join. And that's not how it works. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I would like to expand on that, right? At the end of the day, businesses do things to scale, right? You want to do something with the purpose of adding value to your business. However, some sort of value comes from investing. So there's an ethos behind building an ambassador community. The ethos and the mindset there is you're investing in these people so that they can bring back value to you. The number one mistake that people make with ambassador communities is that they want to invest in quotes, invest in them today and get that value today, which is impossible. The Cowrywise Ambassador Program is roughly by next year it will be 10 years old. As of today, it is 9 years old. But the value, the impact that is coming from that ambassador program did not just come up in one day. The brain behind this ambassador program is not me, it's not anybody that has contributed to the building, because I only played a little role in this Razak. When Razak wanted to start the ambassador program, he came with the mindset of JCI because he was a member of JCI while in school. And if you're familiar with JCI, you're familiar with ISEC, they are basically career builders. You join the ambassador community and you see yourself building a career out of that. That mindset was the foundation of the Cowrywise ambassador program. Razak wanted it that people should be proud of joining this program, first of all. And after joining the program, they should see a path to building out their career with this. So the first thing we did was, make people feel welcome, feel different. We started with rewards. From rewards, we started saying, okay, you can visit the Cowrywise office from time to time. Then from visiting the Cowrywise office, we noticed someone in University of Ilorin, which is Oye. We brought in Oye. Oye now started the program to ensure that why don't we bring in internships? So you're a Cowrywise ambassador, you should be able to get access to intern with the Cowrywise team. So we started to rotate that across board. Now, it now became a thing where if people have Cowrywise on their resume, that was a Cowrywise ambassador, I did XYZ, it was opening up doors for them to get jobs because Cowrywise saw that people said, okay, you work with Cowrywise, definitely you have a mindset that would be important to our business. Now, Timmy, Michael, a couple of other people, they've done things where, they go across different campuses, to like show that Cowrywise is here for you and whatnot. Now, Timmy now went for that. Timmy is the current leader of ambassadors program at Cowrywise, but I still talk to everybody there. Went for that to build a pipeline where there's a talent acquisition pipeline where if you're a Cowrywise ambassador, you can be recommended to companies. There's a dashboard where companies can also come there to hire you because Cowrywise is recommending that you can do this job. So imagine you intern at Cowrywise, you place on the dashboard, maybe as a data analyst, and a company comes there and they hire you. But it all started from the point that the company saw it as let's invest in these people's lives. And if we invest in their lives, they would also come back to bring value for us. As of today, a number of people that started off as Cowrywise ambassadors are earning a lot and they're putting money back into Cowrywise. These same people are now working in companies, they're working in different places, they're referring their friends. But they started from 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. They will bring like maybe 100 friends. Those 100 friends, they just bring on 1,000. But it has grown from there and right now it's a full-blown community. These people would have left if the only thing you are telling them is bring sign-ups, collect money, bring sign-ups, collect money. There'll be no value for them. And that's the mistake that most people make. There is no long-term value for those people. So it's one thing to catch people young and be patient enough to nurture them. But in that process of nurturing them, there has to be value because they would also get tired if there's no value that is coming to them. So when I say people are doing it the wrong way, is that they want instant value to come from the ambassador programs. Will give you some value at the beginning, but the long term value is where you begin to see the reward. So somebody looks at a Cowrywise today and wants to replicate what took like 9 years in 1 year. I'm not saying it cannot be shorter, but it doesn't work that way. You have to be ready to invest and be patient enough to get that value.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you. I will ask, what is minimum viable community? What does that mean?
Okay. The idea of minimum viable communities came to me when I was at Nestcoin. Nestcoin is the parent company behind Onboard, if you've heard of Onboard wallets. So run by Gele and Co. The purpose of it is the same way you have a minimum viable product. Like you want to go to the market, you say, okay, this is the product that we have now. Let people test it and give us feedback. Minimum viable communities are basically small groups of people that believe in your product, that you see will believe in your product. You can call them early adopters, but this time you're the ones getting the early adopters yourself. So you find them, you test your product with them, they give you feedback, and you then use them to become like co-builders that can then push out your product. Give you a very simple example, and this is very common in the crypto community, right? A a token or a chain can start. Just today, everybody's just doing incentives, incentives, incentives. Nobody's trying to like find a use case. But you find a clear use case, you take it to these people and you tell them, try out our product. There may be like 10 or 20 of them. And you tell them that as you continue to use our product, you can bring in more people to try out this product. Because you're the first 20 people to try out our product, every revenue that we make from people that are coming, whether they're referrals or not from you, as long as you continue to scale for the next 5 years, you will continue to earn from that revenue with us. We share that revenue with us. So they are the best fit people that can test out your products and come in as co-owners, then you can scale with them. So the same way you have minimum viable products, you also have minimum viable companies. So you relate with them. Some people call it's basically the same as beta communities, alpha communities. People just call it, oh, these are beta users. But why I call it minimum viable communities, you're very invested in them, you're talking with them, you're building with them, and they become like co-owners of your product.
You are the director of growth at Timon. I saw a tweet one day on Twitter where I think they were saying the founder of Timon actually drove to me. The person was saying the founder of Timon drove to my house to sign me up. That's kind of example you are making, right?
Yeah, so those kind of, yeah, exactly. Yes, you remember that, right? So it's where like you're handpicking people that you know can try out your product and give you that adoption or that ambassadorial view that you want. Yeah. So Tommy drove to what's his name? My friend actually. So
I
Tommy
forgot.
drove to his house
Yes,
to
I
go and
forgot. See,
onboard him.
I saw the tweets.
Yeah, to go and onboard him and his wife. Solid guy, to be honest. Solid guy. Okay, that's Tunde Kelani. That was the person that told me was onboarding actually.
Interesting, interesting. Talking about community building, it sounds fun. Everybody always mention it. But
Hmm.
how do you measure the ROI from this community? How do you measure that this community and building is working?
So, ROI of community is in multiple. There's something called community GDP. Then there's of course referral. So community GDP is like, for example, you run a community that is meant to give you value to your product. So how much value have they brought in into your into the ecosystem? How many have they been able to bring into the ecosystem? But more importantly, is the engagement. So if you have 200 community members, how many of those community members are very engaged in your community activity? So you host a community hangout, hypothetically, or something like that. You understand? You host anything like that, and you you bring people there. How how many of them actually came in to be part of that event? So how many of them actually like engage whatever content or anything that you put them? Because some people have to we have like a 10,000 member community. Great, yeah, but how many of them are actually s- deriving value from what you're doing? And engagement is a corresponding tracker of impact on the community. So if people are not engaging you as they should, it means that you're not giving them enough impact. So those are the three major metrics. Impact, of course, like I said, is from engagement. So I use community GDP, referrals, and engagement. So those are the three things, not in any order because they feed into each other. If engagement is good, there'll be GDP, and if there's GDP, there'll be referrals. So they all feed into each other once and for all. So I always start with it, but usually I start with the engagement because that measures the impact. Once the impact is good, they would refer, and the GDP of the community will grow.
You've always mentioned that every marketing activity must relate back to the downline, like the revenue.
Mhm.
Uh, Shimadola also always mentioned it. That the days of mirroring impression, those days are over. So every marketing activity must relate back to the downline. Why is that? Is there a way for marketing people to secure their job?
So traditionally, every marketing effort used to tie back to bottom line. For example,
Really,
you can,
it used to
yes,
be sales. There used to be marketing department, then sales department. But now it's
yeah,
like everything is together.
agreed. But if you look at it this way, right? Let's just Coca-Cola for an example, right? A lot of Coca-Cola activities are to right now drive top of mind awareness. You look at the Coke adverts, it's talking about satisfaction, sharing it with your friends, all those kind of things. All those things feed to sales. They feed they feed to like FOMA, top of mind awareness. And you can measure top of mind awareness, right, on the consumer side. Now, if you look at it from a B2B side, all your marketing efforts should be geared towards increasing your sales pipeline. So in the B2B into B2B flow, what the marketing job is to enable sales. So are you creating enough position, strong enough positioning statements, strong enough pitch materials, pitch decks that help the sales team to actually close better? So are you helping them to generate a lot of qualified leads that can then become sales qualified leads? You understand? So it's not like you are, oh, you as a marketing person in that scenario, that this is how much you're bringing in. But indirectly, can we draw a straight line from the activities that you're doing to what is helping sales or what's helping any other person that is driving the revenue? And in this case, like I said, for a B2B or anything, it is more or less like we have a pipeline. How many quality leads are you giving us in that pipeline? What are you doing to help sales to close out their own deals? They have a presentation. Is your pitch deck really good enough to help them to close that presentation? Have you done enough thought leadership studies or enough research to back them up so that they close things down? So it's not like, oh, we did an event, we did this, we did. How does it tie back to that figure? Do you understand that?
Understand clearly now. Is there a bridge between operations and growth?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of bridge. There are a lot of bridges between operation and growth. So, for example, operations we usually focus on, financial, commercial operations, pricing, and a couple of things. So you come to operations. To give you a I like to say a very simple example. Let me use another thing. Uh, an experience that I had with Timon. We have to always take some decisions sometimes. Okay, should we let go of this fee? Operations is looking at it that this is going to drop down our revenue. You are not coming to say, let's go of this fee. If you let go of this fee, this is my model. This is what I'm projecting should happen to adoption in this aspect. So we let go of this fee, we'll make money from it. So it's now operations' job to now say, if we let go of this fee, this is how I can make money from this. Would you be able to draw any campaign to ensure that we keep on making money from that? So that's one way that I've seen that operations actually, works with growth. And operations are the ones that would actually sometimes get you the partners that would impact your customer journey, your customer onboarding journey and everything. So you want to ensure that you're in those calls, not in those calls, but like just get enough feedback from them to measure that if they do go with this partner, these are to affect customer onboarding journey, these are to affect customer conversion and things like that. So operations and growth, they definitely have a lot of work to do together.
You have a deep knowledge about these things, boss. You are scaling brands, you are scaling businesses, you are growing business, but you don't like calling yourself a growth marketer. Why? You don't like the tag?
So at the beginning, I used to say marketing is not growth, growth is not marketing, they're different and what stuff like that. But as I began to mature in the space, I started to argue that marketing is a subset of growth. Do you understand? It's a subset of growth. Growth is many things. There's operations in growth, there's products in growth, there's so many things, right? Everything is still at the end of the day still marketing. So you can marketing and growth. So for example, when you look at the 5 P's of marketing, you have like the people, the pricing, positioning, promotions, and the others, right? When we define marketing most times, we focus on the promotions aspect. We forget that there's products, there's pricing, there's there's people, there's positioning, right? In in all of this. Now, the people part is definitely like you're trying to hire people that would work with you. That affects your marketing. The product, the design, how you position the product, how you define the product, they all fall under the 5 P's of marketing. So, but most times they define marketing as just promotion. So let's promote the product. So that entire process is what I like to call growth. By the end of the day, it's still marketing. So what I would just say is that for better clarity, the promotional side of marketing is just a subset of everything that comes with growth and marketing. There are multiple parts, there are multiple functions that come together to drive the growth of that platform. If your product is not well priced, no matter what you do, no matter how you promote, you would not get the skill that you need to get. Or you might get the skill that you need to get, you're not making enough revenue, or you're making enough revenue, you're not skilled. So that balance of pricing alone would affect growth.
If me, a digital marketer now,
Mhm.
wants to become a growth person, what would you advise me to do? What
Yeah,
are the
growth
knowledge
already
basics
because
I lack currently that
yeah, growth already,
I need to?
right? Because you're actually growth. So you're actually growth because the idea of growth is scale and increase in adoption that drives increase in revenue at the end of the day. So you actually growth. what I just tell people is that you just need to learn how to now like manage stakeholders across board. So you don't now see digital marketing as just digital marketing. So you're saying, okay, can I sit down with the product team? We're running a campaign, digital marketing ads, but I'm noticing that something is breaking somewhere. Can I sit down with the product team to say, let's work on this experiment. Let's do experiment A, experiment B. Based on experiment A or experiment B, how does it improve our conversion traffic that is conversion or traffic that's coming in through our digital marketing? So that cross-departmental operations is where you can now start to say, okay, I'm working on growth. But at the end of the day, you're still playing a role in growth. But if you want to like scale and grow as a leader, that cross-departmental relation. For example, I still work on design, I still work on onboarding, I still work on customer support, I advise across those platforms because all of them come together to actually drive growth.
So I understand now that it's more of trying to become how can you manage people more? How can you
Across
cross
multiple
section?
departments that contribute to your growth, yes.
So you stop narrowing now to let me check. I'm only focused on arts. I'm only focused on social media.
Mhm.
It stops doing that.
I mean, it's great to be focused on social media. To be honest, it's actually very great to have like a niche specification. But if you want to become a growth leader at some point, you would have to now like have like a broad knowledge, which is why I always advise people that the best kind of marketer is a T-shaped marketer. That means you have a depth in something, either paid ads, either content, email, lifestyle, whatever it is, you have a depth, but then you have a broad knowledge across board. So whenever you need to, as a leader, like you want to run a paid campaign, you have a sense of what is happening there. You want to run a social media campaign, you have a sense of what's happening there, but your core is your core. You just have like a broad sense at the same time. But it's good to always have a depth core on one particular part.
Yeah, that said, you've always emphasized the importance of content these days.
Mhm,
Why, why, why
mhm.
why are you particular about content? Why is it not paid ads? Why is it not?
Okay, yeah. So I will give you the greatest innovation in mankind is language. The reason why you and I can do anything is language. The fact that we can talk to one another. Without language, we cannot document. Without language, we can't create anything. Language is, in my opinion, the greatest innovation of time. So that now builds up to communication. Everything you want to sell, do paid ads, you need content. You want to do an email lifecycle marketing, you need content. So my belief is that every marketer should have a good understanding of content because wherever you stay in marketing, you need to communicate. Communication is the most important thing. Then even when you're speaking to stakeholders, like you're speaking to engineers, you're speaking to product managers, top level management, it's still communication. It's why I'm very big on content. And whenever I want to test a marketer, the first thing I do, wherever they want to be, is I give them a content test. And I don't give content test that you have to go home and do. You stay on the call right there. We do a 30-minute or a 20-minute content test. I look at you, you're doing the test, then you present it. Communication is the most important thing, and content is the best way to test how well the company can communicate. The content is like the base of everything marketing.
I get that. I get that now. I have a feeling that I have something I've been asking people recently. Recently, for me as a marketing person, I spend more times inside the tools, like working inside tools,
Mhm.
rather than how it used to be. Before, it used to be me thinking about the copy, thinking about strategy. I was not asking that. Is it because the strategy part and thinking part can be outsourced these days to automations and all of this? Is that why? Or am I missing something?
No, no, no. You're not missing anything. It's good for you to be in the tools to understand the strategy, no doubt. But do not lose touch with the people that you're trying to speak with, the people you're trying to approach, right? So, for example, when people are building products, it's the same thing that happens with engineers and products also. They're just building sometimes like, oh, this is going to make sense. You're not speaking to people that actually want to use the product. A friend of mine runs a company called Rightflow, and I think that I want everybody to just look out for that company. What the company is doing is is quite great, right? You know the way you have uh how will I put it, logistics and everything. Like imagine but we'll get to that. No, yeah, we're right through, right? And he talked about how like there's an inventory side to his product, great inventory thing. And I was trying to speak to some set of business owners in Nigeria, and it just made sense why some of these inventory products will never pick up in Nigeria because there are cultural nuances to how inventory is run that allows people at the bottom of the funnel, that the people at the top of the business are aware of. You understand, that feeds to those that are at the bottom of that, allows them to like, get some bonuses and everything. There's just the way it's structured out, right? I don't say it, but structured out for them. Now you bring your inventory product and it's like you're going to scatter that particular uh, stuff. So you built a very good inventory product, but it doesn't work for that cultural nuance. And it's the same thing with marketing also. You can be very deep in the tools and all like that. For example, you're a great lifecycle marketer and you're so good with timing and everything and all that. But you now speak to people and you realize that they like emojis in their subject lines, but you are just there on the tool, just picking up. So no matter how good you are with the tools, you also have to understand that you're working with human beings and humans are better understood with psychology. You can't understand them with machines. So you have to interact with them, talk with them, and get things better.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. One of one of the podcasts that you appeared on and I listened to, you said that innovation needs to focus on real world impact rather than that people are building more fancy products these days rather than the real world impact. Is that I think is
Well,
it this whole AI thing that is causing that?
Um, so builders will always build, right? And some things will be exciting to a builder. It's like when you do something as a human being, you're excited about it, but doesn't mean it has impact. I don't think it's the AI thing that's costing us. AI, whether we like it or not, it's still going to be garbage in, garbage out. So it's still the people that put in whatever it is
Are
that is
behind
there.
it?
I mean, it's just that now we're amplifying. When we say a lot of stupid things come out, is that we're amplifying the stupidity that already exists. It's just easier for you to now like churn out stupid or things that are not impactful. So I'm never going to blame AI for slop or anything like that. It's people that are putting in the garbage and the garbage is coming out, right? So there are a lot of fancy ideas, a lot of interesting things that people have built, but are not necessarily impactful.
I want to ask you this question. In your experience, what are the three mistakes you think early stage founders always make before they acquire their first 1,000 users?
It starts with hiring, right? One of the
Yeah.
mistakes that people make is they want to hire a growth person because they think a growth person is a promotions person, or they want to hire someone to do that branding. But you need to validate your idea first of all. And in validating your ideas, there are going to be a lot of issues. Let me take this. You need to hire a customer support person. At the beginning, you and your co-founder, you can do all the marketing work. You can talk about the brand. It's your brand. Hire a customer support person because onboarding, there's going to be so many issues. So the customer support person is a very critical hire that should come in at the beginning. Number two is benchmarking. Benchmarking is great, right? But benchmarking can be very misleading. So you have to experiment, see what works, see how much you make for it, and tweak in line with that. People will tell you things like, oh, we were acquiring our customers at $3 per customer, per transaction at $3. It makes sense, but do you know how long they've been existing? Do you know what they've been doing? You're new, nobody knows you. You have to come into the system, experiment. Okay, we were spending $10, but we're able to still make $5 or make back that $10 within 12 weeks. This is where we are currently. This is our model. Let's now continue to tweak gradually to see how we can reduce it. So you go into the market sometimes with that idea that okay, this is my benchmark. Then you hire somebody and you're trying to force the person to hit that benchmark. It doesn't help, right? Experiment, have an idea of how you want to make money. Are you making enough money? And just work with that. So customer support benchmarking. And I think that the the third thing is a number of times founders go very broad at the beginning. I'm all for experiments, but your experiments have to be very horizontal, right? So in a sense that your experiment has to be very vertical. Sorry. When we came out as Timon, right, there were many things that we could do. We could do USD accounts. We could do maybe let me calculate those, please. We could do cross-border transfers, we could do remittance. But we started off with cards and focus those cards on travelers. Today, we have cross-border transfers, we have eSIMs, we have USD accounts. But it's all centered around the same message. We keep experimenting with each vertical, but we didn't just start experimenting with everything at once. Experimented with one, and we saw some very good success with cards. Now we're doing local transfers where you can be a Nigerian transfer as much as anywhere, whenever you travel, and now we're doing eSIMs. We started to experiment with each one of them. So founders come out sometimes and they go broad. Be vertical, win there. If it fails, close it, do another thing. Close it down. Like just be fast with your experimenting, but do not try to experiment with multiple things at once. And this same thing happens to even marketers. For example, someone is doing an A/B test. You want to test, and it's very basic. You want to test subject line. At the same time, you're testing the CTA. It doesn't work that way. If you're testing the headline of a copy, test only the headline of the copy. Once you found the headline that works, test the CTA. Once you now found the CTA that works, but you're testing multiple things at the same time. It doesn't help, right? So you always have to like do one thing at a time, like hyper focus at the beginning. So once again, when you're hiring at the beginning, branding, marketing, great, yeah, but customer support is very important, right? Then benchmarking, don't fall victim of benchmarking, and ensure you have vertical focus at the beginning.
Okay, okay. I think I have two more questions to ask you.
That's fine. I'm here. I'm
But the
happy to
first
answer.
one, the first one I will ask is, I'm a Timon user, so I use a card for
Thank you very
my
much.
USD transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to ask, I have a problem. This 3 times, if I get what's it called?
Decline phase, yeah.
If my yeah, if I got declined 3 times, why? Why is that rule
Yeah.
there?
So the rule is there because as a team, we take on some costs. And I will explain how cards work generally. Everything you do with your card, your bank card, anything, check your balance, draw money, your bank is charged. They are charged for every single thing you do with your card, they are charged.
For every
Right.
transaction?
Not even that you check your balance, there's a charge. But banks are happy to cover these fees because, of course, they have multiple revenue sources. And we also, as a team, we cover a number of these fees. Whenever your card is declined, there's a fee. So we pay for the first 3 times. And sometimes we won't pay as much as even beyond that. Even when sometimes like your card is getting declined, you stop using that card, you totally forgot it somewhere. We keep paying. Do you understand?
Oh.
So what
We
we do
users
is
think if it declines, it's just that there's nothing
no.
wrong.
No, because there's an attempt to build that card, and that attempt costs the provider money, so they charge us, right? But for the first 3 times, we're like, okay, it's cool, we'll just pay, but no business is going to run, will not be alive to provide services. We just keep it like that, so that's why we have to charge. We're not happy about the charges also, but because we get billed, we then have to charge us.
Hmm. Thank you for that. Thank you for this. I just understood now. I wanted to ask, like, why is it
No,
there?
it's
I
fine.
never knew that
It's
if you get
yeah,
declined, that the bank get charged. We always
yeah.
think, you, in Nigeria, if
Everything
you use a normal card now, if it doesn't, we'll learn here or nothing's happening.
everything that happens in your card has a fee. Visa and Mastercard, they don't play with their fees at all. They charge you for every single thing.
Okay, okay, I get it now. All right. The last question is, which unconventional growth strategy do you think people should look up to? The pay that is increasing, acquisition fee are increasing every day, CAC is rising. Which are untapped channels should people be looking out to, if you don't have money?
There's nothing like that. It doesn't exist, right? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I don't believe in silver bullets. And I learned this from Razak when I was at Cowrywise. Razak said something like, "There's no silver bullet anyway. The only way you win is with consistency. Find what you can do it very well, and be consistent with it." If you are great at creating viral content, of course, you cannot do viral content every day, but the periods when you can do viral content, just do it consistently. However, there is no greater way to win in the market than with education and content. Check all the brands that have won. Nike, Paul, everybody. At different levels, right? Even at Cowrywise, different levels, but it still boils down to content. Cowrywise did product education, a lot of product education. Piggyverse did a lot of UGC testimonials. Nike is doing a lot of motivational ads, right? When my food business, Nine Fries, we do a lot of like, we don't even like public content. What would you like? DMs, the kind of interactions we have with our DMs with our customers are so happy to, like, they just take screenshots like, oh, I like how Nine Fries speaks to me. Timon, we have a founder's email that we send out regularly from time to time. People like it. You just need to find the channel that works for you and be very consistent with it. If you are consistent with it, the channel will pay you back. So at the beginning, you might not have a lot of money and whatnot, but the channel will pay you back. Where I still struggle, even though I love it very much, is community. I love community. And we've started to experiment more with community even at Simon. For content is one channel that I've seen that never fails, because if you do it well and you do it consistently and you figure out the distribution, it will pay you back. It will always pay you.
Does resilience is resilience an important skill for a marketing person?
Well, yeah, you have to be resilient, but not stupidly resilient, right? By saying stupidly resilient is you try the channel, it's not working effectively, you don't tweak, you don't experiment, just let it go. Don't force it, let it go. You might not let it go totally, but keep it at the back burner. So your resilience has to be balanced with the ability to let things go.
You mentioned that the best marketer is a T-shaped marketer. It's a depth in one, then spread across. Are you saying
Mhm.
marketing person that are starting to be, we should start as a generalist, and then narrow down, or they should niche down first, and then be a generalist after?
I started as a niche down person with content and then generalized after. But what I think is there's no one way to get things done. What I would suggest is the person can start preferably at a general level, just like when you do medicine. Most medical guys start as general practitioners and then start to specialize. The general practitioners, of course, will know a lot of things and all like that, but start to specialists are great. I usually suspect that just do everything you can do, then find your which that's my best approach to it.
All right, thank you, boss. We've come to the trivia section. I'll mention
Oh,
something, maybe.
there's a trivia.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you better, people would like to know you better. So I'll mention something, and you tell me maybe the one you like best, or the one you find interesting. So if I say food, I can just say Eba. Are you
Okay,
ready?
sure. Yeah, sure.
All right. Football club.
Arsenal. I don't have a favorite meal, but I have something called shawarma rice, so I'll say shawarma rice that I make a lot.
Language.
Hausa and Yoruba. Hausa because it's very pretty and cute to listen to. Yoruba has tonality, like it sounds like you're singing. The tonality of Yoruba language is really that's why Yoruba songs sound well. So it's not like just that's why our song there's a tonality to the Yoruba language.
Country.
Nigeria, of course. I mean, I could have left a long while ago, but I'm still here.
Footballer.
Cafu of Brazil. Cafu of Brazil. Yes, plays for AC Milan, plays for Brazil. Great defender, number two. Best defender that I love so much. Book Becoming a Person of Influence by John Maxwell. I read it a while back and it has influenced how. So, thankfully, when I dropped out in 2014, I was reading a lot, and that was one of the books I read, John Maxwell, How to Become a Person of Influence. It has impacted how I speak with people, how I lead people, and how I carry people along.
Author. Book author.
Book author, John Maxwell. But there's some other books that I've read. One of the best storytellers that I really love is Ben Okri. I love them also a lot. So
A social media app.
social media app, Twitter.
Then lastly, brand.
Brand, Timon. What do you want me to say? But when it comes to outside of I like watch brands a lot, and one of the watch brands I really love is I love Seiko. I love Seiko a lot. Seiko. I love them so much. I just love them. Seiko.
Thank you very much, boss. Thank you for coming to the show. What will you leave us with? Any message to the world?
Just be consistent. There's no silver bullet anywhere, like my boss Razak would say. Just be consistent with what you do, and you win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.